Welcome back to Pulse of the Field. We always like digging into those spots where ancient wisdom and modern innovation could have bumped into each other.
Yeah, and today is especially wild, I think, because we've got mind unveiled videos, we've got research on like energy, vibrations, even some alternative history stuff, and it all really pushes how we think about knowledge.
Okay, so like imagine a world where sound isn't just something you hear, but it's like this force that can shape reality. We're getting into that today, and it gets really out there.
It is interesting though how that idea, which, sounds kind of mythological, magical almost, it actually kind of connects with modern science. Like, look at cymatics.
Cymatics, it's just so cool. It's that study of how sound vibrations make those visible patterns. Like think of those geometric shapes in sand or water.
And it's not just like pretty pictures. Cymatics is really showing us that sound can like organize matter and influence it, specific frequencies making specific structures. It opens up all these crazy possibilities.
So are we saying that like ancient traditions that talk about the power of sound and vibration, like maybe they were onto something that we're just now starting to figure out with science?
It's a thought-provoking idea, right? Think about ancient mantras or chants. They were believed to have power, but not just metaphorically, like a physical power. So could those sounds have been used to do things with energy, with matter even, in ways that we're only now rediscovering?
Whoa, that gives me chills. And it makes me think about architecture, because some ancient structures have crazy precise acoustics, like the Biltmore site we talked about before. Could that be more than just chance? Like, were they designed to use the power of sound on purpose?
That is a fascinating question, and it kind of points to this bigger thing we see in all these sources. The lines between what we call ancient wisdom and modern science, they get blurry. It's not really about proving one right and one wrong. It's more like seeing how different ways of knowing could be coming together.
Right, it's not that ancient cultures knew everything, but maybe they had insights we kind of forgot about, and now we're finding them again through science.
Exactly, and that takes us to another big idea from all this, that technology might not always go in a straight line. What if some ancient civilizations had knowledge or even tech that got lost and we're only now touching up to it?
Okay, now we're talking. And you can't talk about lost tech without Tartaria. It's everywhere in these sources.
Tartaria, right, the lost civilization with super advanced tech, always with giants and rude structures. It's a really catchy theory, and yeah, we gotta be skeptical, but it's so interesting to think that maybe our whole history is incomplete.
Right, like what if some of these ancient structures, we think we know who built them, what if it was this civilization we've totally forgotten about? That would rewrite everything.
And it would really challenge what we think ancient cultures could do. Look at those stone structures on Paris Mountain. Some people think they're Tartarian, others say they're natural, who knows?
It's like we're looking at the same thing, but with totally different eyes, and both ways are mind-blowing. That's what I love about these deep dives. They make you question everything.
They make you think critically, see different sides, be open to the idea that what we think we know might just be the beginning?
Speaking of questioning everything, we got to talk about the Rodin Coil.
The Rodin Coil, it's supposed to use this Vortex Mathematics to make these unique energy flows. It's a great example of how old ideas, in this case manipulating unseen energies with shapes, are being explored, reinterpreted even through modern science.
So the Rodin Coil, is it like a modern version of rediscovering ancient knowledge? Because it's described as being super efficient, almost like it's tapping into some hidden energy source.
It's possible, right? And it shows how knowledge can be connected across time. What if those old ideas about energy weren't just mystical stuff, but like a deeper understanding of the universe that we're only now getting a grip on?
It's like we're standing on the shoulders of giants, literally and figuratively, trying to reach something new.
And who knows what we'll find? The biggest takeaway from all of this might be that learning isn't about the end, it's the journey.
Absolutely. It's about staying curious, asking what if, and being okay with mystery.
And sometimes the coolest discoveries happen when you look past what you think you know, where ancient wisdom and modern innovation crash into each other.
We've had a lot of crashes today. Sound vibrations, Tartaria, the Rodin Coil. It's clear there's so much we don't know.
And that's what makes it so exciting. We're just starting to understand what humans can do and how connected we are to the past.
Before we go deeper, though, we want you to explore a bit on your own.
You'll find links to everything we talked about, Mind Unveiled, Cymatics, Vortex Map, the Rodin Coil. It's all in the episode description.
And check out our GoFundMe, newsletters, and study guides. There's a lot more in-depth stuff there to help you keep learning.
So keep those minds open, keep asking questions, And join us next time as we keep exploring the pulse of the field. And one of the really trippy things about all this is it makes you rethink history. Like, what if what we call history is just one way of seeing it, one story out of many?
Well, that's a lot. We grew up learning all these facts, and then suddenly there's these other theories that totally flip everything.
And that's where Tartaria, even though it's controversial, gets really interesting. It makes you question not just like events, but the whole way we understand the past.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't heard of it, Tartaria is this idea that there was this super advanced civilization, like global, called Tartaria, way before the stuff we learn in school.
And that they had technology, knowledge that got lost, and all that's left are these weird ruins and structures that don't fit with what we think we know.
Like those out-of-place artifacts, objects that seem way too advanced for when they were made. It makes you think maybe the timeline is all messed up.
Exactly, and Tartaria takes that and makes it global, saying ancient cultures were connected and had tech that blows our minds.
One thing that always gets me about Tartaria is the giants.
Yeah, giants are a big part of a lot of Tartaria stuff. They're always the ones who built those huge structures that we can't explain with our current, engineering.
It's like if giants did build that stuff, what else are we wrong about?
Yeah.
What could they do that we haven't even thought of?
It's crazy, right? And it shows that maybe just relying on what's written down isn't enough. What if we've been looking at history too narrowly and missed important stuff?
It's like we're doing a puzzle, but half the pieces are missing and the other half don't fit.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe the discovery is in the mystery, in knowing that we're always learning new things about history.
It's about being open to new ideas, different ways of seeing things, and knowing that there's a lot we don't know.
And that brings us back to what we were saying before, ancient wisdom and modern science coming together. What if these alternative history things, like Tartaria, are showing us scientific stuff we haven't discovered yet?
You mean like what if those giants weren't just myths, but like a whole other type of human that could do things we can't? Or what if their tech was based on stuff we're just starting to figure out?
Right. It's about realizing that what sounds like fantasy or fake science now might be real science later. Think about how many big discoveries people laughed at first.
True. People probably thought flying was impossible once. Shh.
And that's why we gotta look at these alternative history things, even the weird ones, with curiosity and an open mind. They might have clues to future science.
Or at least they make us think and question what we think we know.
And isn't that what learning should do? Make you think differently, see things from new angles, and be okay with not knowing everything.
Okay, but let's get back to something more down to earth. We've been talking about ancient wisdom and lost tech, but how does that help us now? What can we learn from these old cultures that matters today?
That's the big question, and a lot of these sources talk about that. One thing is living in harmony with nature, which seems like a big deal in a lot of ancient traditions.
Yeah, like they got how everything's connected, the balance of nature, in a way we've kind of lost in our modern world.
And maybe by remembering those old ideas about sustainability and respecting nature, we can solve some of the environmental problems we have now.
I like that the answers to our problems might be in the past.
And it's not just about the environment. A lot of these sources also say inner harmony is important, getting your thoughts, feelings, and actions in line to have a better life.
That's like what we talked about before, sound and vibration. Could those old practices, like chanting, singing, using sound for healing, have been doing something we're now starting to get with science?
Maybe it brings us back to that mix of ancient wisdom and modern science. One of those old practices weren't just weird rituals, but like advanced ways to affect ourselves and the world around us.
That's wild. Makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden in plain sight, just waiting for us to find them and maybe prove them with science.
So many possibilities. That's what's so cool about this. It's like connecting the past, present, and future, realizing we're part of something way bigger than we think.
In talking about stories, one of the craziest things we found was about a pretty unexpected energy source, dog poop.
Right now, sounds funny, right? But the fact that people are using dog poop to power streetlights tells you a lot about how creative humans can be.
Right. If we can use dog poop for energy, what else are we missing?
It's like think outside the box, don't assume you know what's possible, and never underestimate what people can do.
And maybe that's the biggest lesson here. It's not just about finding old wisdom or cool tech. It's about knowing that we can all make new things, solve problems, and build a future that's good for us and the planet.
It's about using that ancient wisdom, not with rules, but like inspiration to deal with the modern world.
And who knows, maybe we'll find some secrets that were right in front of us all along.
Yeah, but it's really amazing. Even the stuff we think is useless could actually be the answer. It's like nature's trying to tell us stuff all the time. We just got to pay attention.
And that's where the real power of mixing ancient wisdom and modern innovation is, I think, not about like being stuck in the past or hating progress, but seeing how they can work together.
It's like finding that balance where old ideas can help us come up with new solutions so we end up with a future that's like high tech and grounded, you know?
Exactly. And it's not just looking to other cultures, it's realizing we have that ancient wisdom inside us too, that connection to nature and how things work.
It's like using that gut feeling, that intuition and creativity, the stuff that's been guiding people forever to deal with today's world.
And maybe by doing that, we'll realize the answers were always right there. So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, all this ancient wisdom and modern innovation, what are some of the big things you hope people listening will take away?
I think the most important thing is to remember that learning never ends. It's not about getting to a finish line. It's about being serious, asking questions, being open to new stuff, even if it goes against what we think we know.
It's about knowing there's so much we don't know, and those big aha moments, they can come from anywhere.
And by taking that ancient wisdom and using it with modern innovation, we can create a future that's good for us and for the planet, a future that respects the past and is excited about what's next.
Well said. And for those who want to learn more, all the stuff we talk about, the videos, research, Rodin Coil info, it's all in the episode description.
Don't forget to check out the GoFundMe, newsletters, study guides, lots of dads there to help you keep exploring.
Keep your minds open, keep asking questions, and we'll see you next time for more Pulse of the Field.